Good morning, everyone. You're very welcome to this webinar in relation to the Financial Advisor Apprenticeship Program with LIA. Thank you for joining us today and to take time out of your busy schedule. And hopefully this will be very informative and interactive, and you'll get the knowledge that you're looking for in relation to the program. My name is Brian Dunphy. I'm the Business Development Manager with LIA. And over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll cover the program, what the program involves, what it takes to earn the qualification, and most importantly, what it actually looks like day to day, both for the apprentice and the employer who take them on. I'm joined today by Erin McConnell. Erin is a final year apprentice currently working as a life and pensions administrator with CMCC, who has successful history with the apprenticeship program. So Erin, you're very welcome and thanks for taking the time to join us.
Hi Brian, thanks for having me today. Looking forward to chatting about the programme.
Great, thanks a million, Erin. So before we get into Erin's experience, I want to give you a quick overview of the program itself so we're all working from the same picture. So the program itself, the LIA Financial Advisor Apprenticeship Program, is Ireland's first Earn and Learn honours degree program in this space. It was launched in 2016 and is delivered in partnership with LIA, the Insurance Institute and Atlantic Technology University in Sligo. It runs for 3 years. Apprentices work 4 days a week with their employer and spend the fifth day in structured academic study. So it's a mix of online lectures, case studies and project work. Over the 3 years, apprentices work towards two APA accredited product advisor designations, the full QFA, the qualified financial advisor designation, and a level 8 honours degree, the BA in insurance practice. The QFA is recognised by the Central Bank of Ireland's minimum competency code, covering 5 of the 8 categories of retail financial products, including life assurance, savings and investments, pensions, housing loans and consumer credit. And critically, the education cost of the programme is funded by SOLAS and the Higher Education Authority. There's no tuition fee for the apprentice. Employers are only required to pay their apprentice's salary. It is important to note that entry to the programme is subject to meeting entry requirements, including minimum age of 18, and full eligibility criteria is available on the LIA website, www.lia.ie. So, we're going to get into Erin's story now. And what I'm going to ask you, Erin, is to take us back to the very start and what made you choose this route over the traditional college degree?
Yeah, so I'd have to say it was just the idea of earning and learning at the same time. So you go into it knowing that you're going to be working the 4 days a week and then you have the 1 day for the college. And you come out with no college fees at the end, which is like a huge bonus for the likes of young people that might need to take out a student loan or something. And then you don't come out at the end of a college degree with no work experience. You've got a full 3 years back in you, which is just really great to have with you.
Brilliant. So now you're in your final year now. So can you share with us what your typical week looks like for you?
Yeah, so I work 4 days a week with my employer. So dealing with clients on the day to day and doing portfolio reports and such. And then on the fifth day, we have the study leave. So we have lectures, we can do assignments and study for exams. And it's structured so you always know which day it's going to be for the 3 years.
Brilliant. Um, it is a fantastic opportunity for anybody who wants to get into the industry, but also get that education at third level. For you personally, what do you think has been the biggest benefit for you?
For me personally, it would have to be getting the QFA designation, which is something I really wanted to achieve at the end of this, and now thankfully I have. And then also getting the level 8 honours degree, hopefully, once I completed my capstone project at the end of the summer. And then also, like I said previously, just not having to worry about college fees. That's, I know, a huge worry with some of my friends back home when they were going into college, they were taking out loans and such for going into college. So that was definitely a huge weight off my shoulders.
It's a massive benefit of the program, having that funding. and also, yeah, the designations that you attain, and also a degree. So there's two elements to it, which is fantastic. And I've no doubts you will get there. I know you're nearly there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it hasn't been easy with this weather doing a project, but you're almost at the finish line, and I've no doubts it'll be top quality project. When it comes to the workplace experience and you were studying the syllabus, did that change how you saw the material? The fact that you're working in the industry?
Yeah, it definitely did. Just on the day to day, listening to people in the office talking, you might think they're almost speaking a different language, but then the next day, when you're in the lecture and you're learning about the material, then you come back into work and you can actually then take part in the conversations that everyone's talking about. And it just makes it so much easier putting the theory into practice than like straight away almost.
And for you, who's been this through this journey and almost at the finish line, if somebody was considering this as a student and somebody entering into the industry, have you any advice for them who are weighing up their options?
Yeah, I would definitely go into it knowing that there is going to be a good amount of workload. It's a genuine commitment to have. And I also play rugby at a high level outside of working and such. So it'll really test your time management skills anyway. But as long as you put like a plan in place or as you have a good routine, it's definitely achievable. So if you do have a busy social life outside, it is something you can also do.
Super. So your message is go in with your eyes open, but
Yeah,
it is very easy to balance everything to keep everything above water as such.
yeah, definitely.
Lovely. Okay, so I'm now going to turn to the employer perspective, and we'll look at the employer side because a lot of you joining today are here to weigh up whether to take on an apprentice like Aaron. So, Aaron, from where you sit, what have you seen your employer gets out of this program?
Well, they get a hardworking, motivated employee because not only are they working for the company, but they're working for themselves to achieve personal goals of that college side as well. Um, so it's not just filling a seat in a empty office space. You're actually wanting to learn the material and you're wanting to achieve the goal and you're wanting to become a financial advisor at the end, which is something for me personally, I have noticed a huge change in myself just knowing that it's not just a job. It's something that I actually want to do for the rest of my life, essentially.
That's it's brilliant to hear that from you, from your voice, because that matches what we hear from employers directly. And a few points worth noting and setting out clearly are that the cost, so the education element of the program is fully funded by SOLAS and the Higher Education Authority. So employers pay only their apprentice's salary. There's no tuition cost to the business. When it comes to flexibility of entry, an apprentice can join having already completed up to 3 QFA modules. So employers can use the program either to formalise the development of an existing team member or bring in a new entrant, somebody brand new to the profession. When it comes to the regulatory alignment, apprentices are working towards designations that meet the Central Bank of Ireland's minimum competency code. So the qualifications directly supports your regulatory obligations as a firm. And then apprentices, when it comes to retention and loyalty, apprentices build their careers inside your business from day one over the 3 years, and that's a strong foundation for retention. And for any employer who isn't yet approved to take on an apprentice, what are the steps? Well, you'll need to become an approved apprenticeship employer. So that starts with an application form to LIA, followed by an assessment through SOLAS, which typically includes a visit from your local education and training board. So once you're approved, you can then advertise your apprenticeship vacancies directly on LIA's apprenticeship jobs page. So, Aaron, look, you've given us a wealth of information, and before I let you go, I wanted to ask you a few other questions, and one in particular. Um, what's the one question you get asked most by people who consider this route?
I usually get asked if it's like a real college degree and if it's the same amount of work. And I'd have to say it is. It definitely is the same amount of work as a real college degree. You're still doing the same exams, same assignments, and then you also have the QFA exams on top. Um, so there is a, a big difference between like coming into it knowing what you want, and like not coming into it with your eyes open. So it's definitely the same as a normal college degree, but you're getting to earn money at the same time, which is a huge bonus, obviously.
Brilliant. It is a bonus, and when I started out my career in financial advice, if this option was available to me, I would have been jumping at it because I feel I I personally did a self-directed apprenticeship trying to get my career up and running as a financial advisor. Um, so what you're saying is it's definitely it is real study compared to the traditional degree. It's the
Yeah,
same rigor, the same exams, the same honors degree at the end. The only difference is you're earning money while working
yeah,
towards your degree. That's
exactly.
it's a no-brainer. I will open it now to any questions for anybody on the call. There is a comment here. I know the person works 4 days a week, but they also work 4 days a week during the summer, all year round? No, if there are breaks in the semester, the employee is expected to work 5 days a week. But typically the course does run full year round. However, during the summer semester, I know there's a 2 week break, and that 2 week is expected that you would work full time. But typically some of the apprentices take their own annual leave at that time because it's a break from their studies. Otherwise, they're back into full-on study throughout the summer. There's also another question: can an existing employee 6 months in be enrolled into the apprenticeship program? Absolutely. That is no problem at all. But they would have to go through the same process with regards to the employer getting registered as an employer for approved employer for the apprenticeship program, and then the employee would need to express their interest to join the program. But if they contact LIA directly ourselves, expressing an interest in this program, we can talk you through the steps. Um, and then another question from you: what is the closing date roughly? You would need to have your apprentice identified and registered by at the latest mid-August, because the program does start in the first week in September. So the recruitment process, and this is why we time this now. Now is the ideal time to start looking at recruiting your apprentice, to identify them. I do often say there's no problem with you hiring them a week or two earlier or a couple of weeks beforehand, but you could issue a temporary contract before the 3 year contract starts. And it's a good way for you to get to know each other. And what are the requirements for an employer to get approved? Well, the first step is to reach out to LIA to complete the application form to be registered as an employer. It's very straightforward, but if you contacted us at inquiries@lia.ie, we will pass on your inquiry to our designated apprenticeship support team, who will then contact you about completing the necessary form. Solus engage with you directly, and the ETB, your local ETB, tend to take a visit to your office just to make sure that your premises do exist and you have an identified place of work where the apprentice will work from. Okay, I think any other questions that I see come through, I will answer them hopefully directly to you in time. What I will say now is I would summarize that to bring it all together, over the 3 years, this program delivers the full QFA and a level 8 honours degree, fully funded with no tuition fee and built around real paid work experience. If you're an employer considering recruiting an apprentice, or you're thinking about starting this route yourself, the next intake commences in September 2026, and we'd encourage you to register your interest now. You can find full details, entry requirements, and all the employer approval process at the www.lia.ie, or email us directly at either inquiries at LIA or apprentice at lia.ie, and our team will talk you through the process. Erin, I want to thank you for sharing your experience. It's invaluable to get the apprentice's insight into the whole program. It's very easy for me to talk about the program, but to get somebody who's walked the walk and share your experience with us is invaluable. And we'd like to thank you sincerely for your insights, and also to wish you good luck with your remainder of the course. You're almost at the finish line, and I've no doubts that you'll have a phenomenal career in the financial advice industry. Um, is there anything you'd like to finish up by saying to anybody on the call? Say to them.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on the call. I really appreciate being brought on. And good luck to anyone that's thinking about bringing someone in as an apprentice. I know it's been the right fit for me, and I've really enjoyed the experience, and I'm sure anyone that's brought on will as well.
Brilliant. And that's exactly what, we want to hear. We want to hear, exactly the truth from the apprentices with regards to what was their journey like, and how did they feel it added to them professionally. So look, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Places on the September 26th intake are limited, so please do get in touch as soon as you think you're interested in this journey, and reach out to us at apprentice@lia.ie, or you'll find all the details on our website. So look, I'll end it there, and if you have any queries, do reach out to us directly. Thank you very much, and thanks, Erin, again.